Meantime, the Saints defense confounded Tom Brady to the tune of no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 3 sacks.
You know, you definitely, when things don't go your way, you know, sometimes they keep going that way, and you got to figure out how to stop it and then turn it around. And we had our opportunities and we just didn't do it. So we got to learn from it, and, you know, hopefully we can learn from it and be better next week. So
Mike was open a bunch in that ball game. He didn't get targeted. That's all. He was open. Mike was open.
Shots being fired. Steve, he's calling out the GOAT.
Susie, it seems like the shots are being fired, but to me, that's planned. After week 2, it felt planned when he had to screw up in the Saints game back then. If Bruce Arians goes after Tom Brady, it's because Tom Brady and Bruce Arians have talked about it and said, look, I want to be held accountable. Because one thing about Tom, he's a genius at collecting the guys around him to play hard for him, even though he's multi-billionaire, married to Giselle, he's got all this stuff going on in his life, but he still gets the rookie lineman to go after him because he's ultimately accountable. He tells them that. And by Bruce Arians going after him, and then Tom going, you're right, I got to play better, it sets that tone of accountability so the whole team goes, well, it's not just Tom's fault. It's my fault, too. And then you get 50 guys accountable. Tom knows what happens when you get 50 guys accountable. You play pretty good football. So that whole thing with Bruce Arians going after him, I think is part of the plan.
Well, but besides that, I mean, let's get to the heart, though, of what really is the problem. I mean, did we see this coming last week? They didn't score in the first half against the Giants for the first time all season. Are you seeing an actual problem with the offense?
I have been seeing an actual problem, and let me take you through the 6 games that they have won. The offense have been playing outstanding. Tom has been throwing the ball everywhere, but Susie, the 3 losses they have, 1 to the Bears, 2 to the New Orleans Saints, 4 sacks for that offense in their 6 wins, 9 sacks in their 3 losses. So when you look at the quarterback play for the Tampa Bay Bucs, one thing that I'll say that I'm not used to seeing Tom do in that pocket is standing in one spot, holding on to that ball. I like to see
Sure. This is very simple. If you hand off the football 5 times in a game, you're going to lose 100 times out of 100.
And when you have a quarterback that's under duress, would you say there's 19?
There was 19 pressures that the Saints put on Tampa Bay's offense. How would you feel, Steve, as the quarterback, 19 pressures?
At 43 years old, Tom can go run the 40, and it looks similar to what he did when he's 23, to be honest with you. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but it doesn't look that different. When he throws the ball, it kind of looks the same. But when you're under duress at 43, that's when that shows up. No one at 43 can handle all of that pressure, let alone at 33 or 23. And so you want to see the kryptonite for the Bucs. It's that duress for Tom Brady.
And Randy makes the point about, we always think of Tom Brady as just that beautiful movement in the pocket. And if you're not seeing
he needs a clean pocket, Susie.
Then that's a big difference. But we can't put all of this on the offense. Did the offense give up all those points?
No, they did not.
Saints? I thought this defense was really good.
Well, the defense generally is really good because they play to their strengths. They can pressure you with pressure packages from Todd Bowles. What they're not good at, Susie, is playing zone coverage. And for whatever reason, the Bucs came out last night and said, you know what we want to do? We want to take the most accurate quarterback in NFL history with no pass rush and play zone, and Drew Brees will kill you. Here they are in zone coverage. They're going to fake the little bubble screen. Because the Bucs are in zone, everybody has their eyes on Drew Brees. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defenders. They're manipulated. And Traquan Smith is wide open in the corner of the end zone. That's because Drew Brees sees zone coverage, and with his eyes, he moved everyone. Talk about no pass rush. They came into this game second behind the Steelers in sacks. No pass rush here. Drew Brees can look one way. He can pat it. My old D-line coach said anytime the quarterback pats it, it's not on the coverage, it's on the rush. That's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive pass rush. And you talk about a double move. Watch the tight end. He's going to move the safety. Drew Brees, look at his eyes. Move the safety to the left. Now you got the tight end running a little stick, little nod. And because that safety was moved by Drew Brees' eyes and the lack of pass rush, he can go left, come all the way back right. So when we look at the Buccaneers last night, it was a total failure offensively. But let's not leave Todd Bowles out.
But why did Todd play zone?
Todd Bowles, because anytime you play the Saints, in my opinion, I hadn't talked to Todd, I got a feeling Todd didn't want to show Drew the same thing they showed him in week one. Okay, we came after him a little bit. Let's show them something different. And the Saints came out and said, we expected man. When we got zone, we were like, Drew Brees had to be like, man.
And it had to be because they hadn't been as explosive, right? They had not, those 20-plus yard plays had not been there.
Exactly.
Let's just zone them up and see how it goes. Not so good.
Because I don't care who you are. If you don't have any pass rush, every zone has holes in it. You have to have pass rush to go with zone coverage to make it effective.
Especially for veteran quarterbacks.
Exactly. And the Bucs don't have great individual.
I love 22 eyes on me. Like just stare me down because there's all kinds of openings everywhere.
Correct. And they don't have great individual one-on-one rushers. And so they need to bring pressure off blitz packages and from Todd Bowles being creative. And last night they weren't.
So just to remind everyone that Brady, Arians, they all said work in progress.
Yeah, is that the end for the Bucs? No, this is not the end for the Bucs.
It's the beginning of the process.
Yeah, it is.
Just relax. We'll talk about the Saints later. They've won 5 straight. Still to come on Monday Night Countdown, the Steelers and Chiefs look like the AFC's best. But how concerned should we be about the Steelers' disappointing performance in Big D? And we crack open Boomer's vault to see the best of the best from Week 9. Could a defensive play be #1 in back-to-back weeks? Stay tuned. Plus, it's been a tough season for the winless Jets. We need the wise words of JB Smoove, confident the Gang Green can navigate their way to victory.
Do I gotta do a guarantee like Joe did? Don't make me guarantee tonight.
But Cam Newton not going to want to make that easy. Wants to get these Patriots back on track. Filling in for Tom Brady, his teammates say he has been in the AFC, beginning with the Steelers, who went down to the wire against what turned out to be a competitive Dallas team. Ben Roethlisberger actually played better after tweaking his knee late in the second quarter, throwing 3 touchdown passes in the win. The Chiefs also pulled out a close game against the scrappy Panthers, with Christian McCaffrey returning to action in a big way. However, Patrick Mahomes added to what's shaping up to be another MVP season with his 4 touchdowns. He's the fastest quarterback to 100 touchdowns in NFL history. The Steelers and Chiefs appear to have separated themselves in the AFC and are the only 2 8-win teams in the NFL. The Chiefs are averaging more points per game on offense. Both defenses have been playing well, allowing just over 20 points per game. Adam, let's just quickly start with Ben, because he did leave the game and he came back, but he tweaked his knee. How is he?
How many times have you seen Ben Roethlisberger go down and come back?
A lot.
He almost always comes back, and he came back yesterday, and as you mentioned, Susie, he played better. Spoke to one person earlier today who told me that if Ben Roethlisberger was able to come back and play that way in the second half, he fully expects him to play this Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, so let's talk about Steelers, Chiefs. Based on what you saw yesterday, which team are you trusting most?
I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers record shows, by them being undefeated, that they are the best team in football. But after yesterday's performance, going down to Dallas with, 3rd, 4th, 5th string quarterback, and I think Gilbert had a great performance. No disrespect to Gilbert. I think he had a great performance, and he could take Dallas in that division. But I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes, being able to average 31 points a game, I think if the Pittsburgh Steelers are able to lose Big Ben, I don't know where they were going to go from there, but I like what the Kansas City Chiefs, too many weapons in Kansas City. I like Kansas City right now.
Chiefs lost Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
I think the offense, I think the offense, the scheme of the offense with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid can make up for all those weapons in Kansas City. I don't think they could do that in Pittsburgh.
I mean, just look at the Arizona-Miami game. There are so many yards for quarterbacks to go get. Free, easy yards. And in these big games, playoff-type atmospheres, I think the quarterback that can go throw it with anybody. So Patrick can throw it with anybody and with Ben. But he can go get those yards in those key moments in those big games that I think is the differentiating factor. When you talk about Steelers versus Chiefs, it's the quarterback and their mobility, because the game today is about mobility.
So basically what you're saying is that the mobility of Patrick Mahomes makes up for the decided advantage that Pittsburgh has defensively over Kansas City.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I recognize that they're not the same defense. But you know what, Book? As usual, you're focused on defense. I'll be focused on offense. What do you got defensively?
Well, here's what I look at. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in this league, and I think he can do things, and he's shown us he can do things that no other quarterback can do. But I think when you look at in totality, offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, Pittsburgh came off playing their 2 toughest games of the season back-to-back against Tennessee and against Baltimore. They went into the game yesterday at Dallas where all week long, everybody, all the players knew that the Cowboys couldn't beat them. They didn't show up with their best effort. It's pro football, but when they came out after halftime and Big Ben pulled his Willis Reed, like he normally does, he comes back in the second half.
He lets you know, too.
Yeah, he will tell you. He will tell you everything that's wrong with him, but you know what he does?
He gets
came
it
out
done.
and he performed and he got it done. And that's when you started to see them just mash the gas a little bit. And when they mash the gas, I still think they're the best team in the AFC.
That no team plays its A game every week. There was an A game against Tennessee. There was an A game against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
You weren't going to get an A game against a quarterback who, for the second straight week on a team, was making his first ever NFL start, with everybody saying how
Both
much.
the Chiefs and the Steelers have done that. Figured out a way,
Just
not
figured
play
out,
great,
yes.
and win the game.
That's the most impressive, when you don't play well and you still come out with a win.
Yeah.
That's what it's really all about. Lots more to get to from Sunday, and of course we will dive into the Week 9 finale from here at the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17 on a beautiful, balmy night at MetLife Stadium. There's Steve Belichick. We'll call him unofficial defensive coordinator. And Steve Young assures us that the mullet is back.
The mullet's back.
Business in the front, baby. Party in the back.
That's a big party. That's a big party.
And if it's Monday night, that means come on, man.
I hope Rex is dancing.
Today, let's run through a bunch of Sunday takeaways. Booger, you are first.
Well, this guy's been carrying the Minnesota Vikings the last couple of weeks. Just when you thought the Vikings were dead, Dalvin Cook said, not yet, I'm not dead. 200-plus rushing yards, another 46 receiving. If he can play like this and they can get any type of passing game and ability to just take the offense to the next level from Kirk Cousins, I think the Minnesota Vikings might make a playoff run.
They can string some wins together, and we will see them on Monday Night Football next week. Randy, who do you have?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Boog, you could probably score a touchdown in this offense, man. I love this offense in Kansas City, man. Travis Kelce, 12 targets, 10 receptions for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Everything is going good in Kansas City. Yesterday, going against the Carolina Panthers, zone man, you could not stop that offense. Late drive by the Kansas City Chiefs, but I love what Kelce is doing in this offense, man. Boog, how many? 2 touchdowns?
2.
No.
All right.
Yes. Justin Herbert, do you feel bad? But look at this play. Look at the athleticism. Figure out how to put him in the end zone. He's doing all the things that you want a young quarterback who's going to be great for a long time to do, except win the football game. Here it is. He thought he finally won it. And I'm telling you, finishing football games is about mature audiences only. You got to be smart and big, and he will get there. He has been awesome.
Just heartbreaking. Coming up, Josh Allen and the Bills won convincingly against the Seahawks, but don't sleep on Tua and the Dolphins' 4-game win streak. Our guys picked their AFC East favorites. Speaking of the AFC East, life without Tom Brady has been tough in New England. Is Bill Belichick making excuses?